What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nicotola, your pop culture best friend. And as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. First things first, I apologize if you hear any humming in the background of this week's episode. It is currently 100 degrees and feels like 102 in New York City. So it's not worth, like the clickbait of like podcaster passes out on camera because of heat stroke. I'm just going to have the AC on. It is what it is. I should be able to edit it out for the most part. I actually don't even hear it at all in my headphones, so I don't think it will be an issue. However, I just want to cover my bases in case anybody wants to get online and be like, I would have loved this episode if I couldn't hear the humming in the background. I apologize. It is what it is, and the show must go on. So that is what we're going to do. Continue the show moving forward. First things first, if you are not following us on Instagram, you are completely missing out, and you are only getting half the story. There's been so much fun stuff going on, so many events and giveaways and whatever happening in my life, and I feel like obviously I chat with you guys every single week, but sometimes things come up last minute, and sometimes I get the opportunity to give away tickets to go see Nympia win this week, or I get to go party with Lorde on a Sunday night at Baby's All Right, and I want to tell you guys about it before Wednesday because what the fuck? So yeah, there's been a lot going on, and we're going to dive into all of it. So like I said, I am so excited. I'm partnering with the Town Hall in New York City, which is a venue here in New York, and I'm giving away 2 tickets to go see Nympia win in her one-woman show, Bananas, this Thursday, June 26th. Truly the best way to kick off a New York City Pride weekend. And I feel like a lot of my listeners found me through Nympia's season because it was the first one that I covered, and I was such a big Nympia fan from day one. If you guys remember when I was recapping it, I was literally she walked into the workroom and I was like, that is my winner. I'm obsessed with her. And then she won the crown, and it's been such a crazy year for her, and this show is kind of looking back at the last year of her life and all of the exciting things that happened while she was our reigning queen. So the show is going to be insane. She also has 8 other drag queens performing, so it really is going to be one big gay party. I cannot wait. And like I said, I am giving away 2 tickets to the event. So if you are listening to this on Wednesday, June 25th, the day that it comes out, before 12 o'clock noon Eastern time, you still have time to go enter and a chance to win. However, if you were listening after that, I do apologize, but the giveaway is now closed. And that is what I mean when I say you need to be following us on Instagram, because you never know, what's going to pop up last minute or what I'm going to be able to do. It's just how life works. I do apologize if you missed it. However, you can still buy tickets. The event is on Thursday, June 26th, and there are still tickets available. So head over to Town Hall's Instagram. I have it tagged on my Instagram as well, so you can go find them. Go buy tickets. It's going to be so much fun. I will be there as well. So if you are going and, shoot me a DM and we can see each other, say hello. And if you are listening and you are somebody who won the tickets, congratulations. I hope you had the best time. I am so excited for the show. It's going to be so much fun. And I'll also be posting content from the show. So if you live out of state and you can't make it, or, you just can't buy a ticket, whatever it is, I will be posting about it. I'll be doing a vlog and I'll be sharing stuff to my story and the whole 9. So if you want to feel like you're a part of the event, make sure you're following us on Instagram as well. And then the second thing that you might have missed if you're not following me on Instagram is the fact that I spent my Sunday night partying with Lorde at Baby's All Right, listening to her new album version from front to back in a room of 250 people, including Lorde. It was insane. I still can't get over it. I'm still processing it. Let's get into what I can process and what has, made it to paper, because I got home and I was like, I need to write things down. I need to type this out because I'm going to forget. Let's get into it. It was just unbelievable. Truly one of the craziest nights of my life, and the energy in that room was seriously something I have never felt before. Everybody was just having the time of their lives. We were dancing, we were singing the songs that we knew. Lorde was just being Lorde. She was dancing, doing her thing, and having fun. You could tell that she was soaking up every single ounce of energy that everybody was giving in that room, and she was just having the time of her life. It was so incredible. And I think this album is seriously going to shock so many people, because I would say from the singles that we've gotten, Hammer, Man of the Year, and What Was That, I think Hammer is the closest to what the rest of the album sounds like. And I think people are really not prepared for the way that it kind of develops and goes. And there's a lot of really fun production choices, and some of the songs really stack on top of each other and build. And she plays around a lot with different vocal stacking abilities and fun different production styles. There's a little bit of not electronic, but it's very it's just like something you've never heard from Lorde before. And it's so unique and so fresh and fun and new. And I'm so excited to not only have the rest of the world hear this album and like understand what I'm saying, but also to be able to like have this album on repeat as the summer goes on, because I'm already like, I need it again. Like I need to hear this album 700 more times to really process what was going on. And a lot of people have been DMing me and asking me like, what was this song about? Or the lyrics on this? What lyric is this song from? And I'm going to be fully transparent. I have not a clue, because I was in one of the most overstimulating situations of my life, standing in a room like 10 feet away from one of my all-time favorite artists, listening to her new album early. I really couldn't understand all of the lyrics. I picked up some of them, but like I wasn't sitting there like, you know, brainstorming all of them. I wasn't, you know, some people can sit there and like retain lyrics nonstop. I need to listen to it a few times before it sticks. However, I can tell you that like what I did pick up and what I did feel like vibe wise was incredible. So I'm going to go through the songs that were my favorites from my first listen. Of course, I'm sure these will change once I actually listen to the album like with headphones by myself and like digest it. But from my first listen of Virgin by Lorde, this is my list of favorites. Number 1, Shapeshifter. This was the first song on the album that we hadn't heard because it's track number 3 on the album. So we start with Hammer and then we go into What Was That? And then this was the next song from it. So it was like we had these crazy fun, just like dance moments with her during the first 2 songs. And then when Shapeshifter came on, we kind of just like all stood there and we were like, wait, it's beginning. Like now we're getting into the album that we have not heard yet. It's like uncharted territory. And it was so much fun. The album's a lot dancier than I expected. Like I didn't think I would be moving and grooving and dancing as much as I was to this album, but it is so much fun. I love it. The next song that really stood out to me was Favorite Daughter, which I actually met Lorde earlier on Sunday at Rough Trade. And I was chit-chatting with her and I said, hey, 2 of my favorite songs by you are A World Alone and Perfect Places. From those 2 songs, what song do you think is going to be my favorite on this album? And she said, if those are your 2 favorites, you are going to love Favorite Daughter. And let me tell you, I loved Favorite Daughter. Like, obviously, I was already going into it. Like, all right, she told me I'm going to like it, so let me listen to it. But even just like listening to the clips back now and like the videos that I took or other people's videos, I'm like, no, this song is so much fun. It's so good. And I believe it's about her sister, Indy. And Indy came out during that song and they were just like hugging each other and dancing together. It was really wholesome and really sweet and just like such a cool moment to experience for the 2 of them. It was so much fun. And when I say this album is dancey, I don't mean it in a way that it's like dancey pop music. It's not like Sabrina Carpenter and Chaperone, which we love here, but it's more like needs to be heard on a dance floor. Like I think hearing this album at Baby's Alright with the music blasting, a disco ball going, the lights going was like truly one of the best ways to experience it for the first time, because I was really able to like feel the music, if that makes sense. And there are slower songs, like there's like Clear Blue and David are like slower, but like the lights and everything like in there, like even though they are slower and not as like produced as some of the other songs, they still had this like the album has a lot of like non-conventional and non-traditional instruments and sounds on it, which I've been saying on the show for weeks, that I'm so excited that this album is more like sound forward, and it's like she made the music and made the sounds first and then added the lyrics to it. And you can really tell that like there was a different approach to this album. Like she really wanted it to be felt and experienced versus like the lyrics like being what speaks. Like the songs sound like what they're supposed to feel like, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of like it makes you feel a lot of things just through the music, which I think is really, really cool. And she did it in such a cool way. The next song that I think people are going to go crazy over is Clear Blue. This is the one that she talked about. I believe it was in Rolling Stone or one of the other interviews she did. It's obviously about like a pregnancy test, and it's very emotional, not just for the lyrical content, but like the song is basically a stripped back a cappella song. There's a little bit of music in it from what I can remember, but for the most part, it's really just like her vocals stacked on top of each other, and it creates this really what's the word? It's sad, and you feel the pain and the loss in the song, and like there's like just the way that all of these songs make you feel, like they really evoke emotion, which I think is something so cool. And Lorde is really good at like making her music come to life and really making her songs kind of like make you feel something. Like I think like listening to like Ribs or listening to like 400 Lux and like the intros of those songs being so like ominous and so almost like makes you uncomfortable because it makes you think. Like that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting on this album. And my friend Joe was the one who got the invite, and I went as his +1, and he said to me, he was like, this kind of sounds or feels like Pure Heroin. And I have to agree, it has that feeling of like where a lot of the songs on Pure Heroin, the music is so like, you think like, I can't think of the song, but like where she does a thing where it goes from one headphone to the other a lot. And a lot of the songs, like it kind of goes back and forth, and it takes you out of the song and makes you feel it. You know, it's not just like listening to the lyrics and loving the track. There's like a real experience to it. I don't know if that makes sense, but when you guys listen to the album, you will get it. But Clear Blue is definitely like, it's going to be like the gut punch on the album. Like I would almost call it the liability on this album from Melodrama, because it's really going to just like punch you in the gut. It's very deep. And we know that she's talking about like very heavy things on this album, which I think is what I'm most excited for when I finally listen to it, not at Baby's All Right, because I want to like read the lyrics and like really digest what she's saying and like then pair it with, you know, what we're hearing and everything. It's just, I cannot wait to listen to this album again. And I still can't get over the fact that I was like in the room when she played it for the first time. And then another song that really stood out to me was If She Could See Me Now. This sounds crazy, and just like walk with me and take my word for it. It has like an early 2000s R&B vibe to it, but it's not an R&B song. Like it's just like the rhythm and the way that it flows has like this R&B kind of essence to it, but it still feels really authentic to Lorde and is like something she's never done before. Now, don't turn it on and expect it to be like a full R&B track, because it's definitely not that, but just like the cadence of it and the rhythm and like the sounds that she uses. And she even, I forget what song it is, but she uses like 2 or 3 lines from like an early 2000s R&B song. I want to say it was like Sugar Sugar by Baby Bash, but I cannot remember what it was for the life of me, and it's driving me insane. But it was just like such a unique sound for her. It was still upbeat, still really fun. Like we were dancing the entire time, but it just has a really cool original sound that she really hasn't like dived into before. I loved it. I also loved Broken Glass and Current Affairs. They were just, again, very upbeat, very fun, like dancey. Everybody in that room was drenched from dancing so much after, and that is exactly the way that I think she wants us to experience it. It was incredible. And then in terms of lyrics, obviously there was so much going on, and like there were certain lines that I would hear and I'd be like, oh my God, that was crazy, but I don't remember them exactly, and I don't want to like misquote them and like give, say something on here and say, oh, this is the lyric, and then people hear it, they're like, that's not what they said, I'm just not getting into those muddy waters of like crazy stands. However, what I can tell you is that David, the closing track of the album, she mentions Pure Heroin, like the words Pure Heroin are in the song. And when she said it, everybody gasped so loud. It was so funny. And one of the big themes on this album, my friend Joe pointed it out, and I went back and kind of was like reading her interviews, and I was like, wow, this is really, it's cool to see. She's singing a lot about like getting older, and she made a comment at the end, she was like, I've learned that like my younger self and my current self and my older self, we're all kind of braided together. Like it is still the same person, even if you are 15 years older or 20 years older or whatever. And like, as somebody who just turned 30 and she's about to turn 30 next year, we're only a year apart. So to hear her kind of going through very similar things that like me and my friend are going through, where like when you're 22, you think you know everything, and now you're 30 and you're like, oh my God, I have nothing figured out. Like it's a very, a shared experience that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about. And I think it's just, as like I said, as somebody who is like in her age range and like very close to her age and what she's going through, I'm like, oh my God, it's just nice to like have an artist who's singing about things that like me and my friend are going through at the same time. And I think that's why I've always resonated with Lorde, is because we're so close in age that we're always like things that she's going through in her age. Everyone has a different experience, of course, and like everyone goes through things differently at different times in their lives. But like there are certain things that like happen, you turn 18, you graduate high school, you go to college, or like not even that, you go into your next phase of your life. It's like that is one big thing. You turn 21 and it's like, now I can drink and it's whatever. You turn 25 and you're in the later half of your 30s. You turn 30 and you're in your 30s. There's certain things that just like happen in your life, no matter who you are and what age you're at. Like that's going to happen to you at that age. So I think I've always resonated with her music so much because of that. And now having this album the year that I turned 30, and like I'm excited to just kind of like listen to it and really digest it, because I think there's going to be a lot of themes and stuff happening on this album that I can really relate to. And I'm just so excited. This album is is so good. The production, the vocals, just like everything on it is so much fun. And I just still can't get over the fact that I got to hear this album in Baby's Alright with her before anybody else. Like, it was seriously an unreal moment. I cannot get over it. And then just the last thing that I'll say about the album, I know a lot of people online were really concerned about the length of it. I want to say it's like a 40-minute long album, and I'm just going to rebuttal that and say Pure Heroine is only 37 minutes, and I think Melodrama is like 47. So like, this isn't a new thing for her, and listening to it and like experiencing it as a whole, like, it doesn't feel short. The songs are very well thought out, and they're very, they have like, the intro and then the rising action and the climax, and there's bridges, and there's a lot of like depth in the song. She fits a lot into even a 40-minute album. And I think that's what's so special about Lorde and her albums. There's never like excessiveness, there's never too much on the album that like makes it feel it's like a trying too hard. She kind of like gets to the point. She really knows how to like narrow it down to what it needs to be and create like a perfectly well-rounded body of music. So if anybody is worried about the length of the album or like it being too short, A, Pure Heroine is shorter, and B, rest assured, the album is a full, perfectly well-rounded project, and you guys are going to love it. I am so excited to be able to listen to it again on Friday. Like, I'm counting. I was already counting the other days, but now that I've heard it and I like want to go back and revisit certain songs, I'm like, I need this album now. Oh my God, I am so excited. It's just so good, and I cannot wait. And that being said, we still have an entire show to do. I feel like I've been yapping away about this night for so long, but we have a whole show ahead of us. So let's dive into this show and kick things off, as we always do, with our Drew releases, our new music releases from last week, and our new music releases coming up this week. We had a lot of releases last week, and we have a lot of releases this week. So there's a lot to dive into. I'm going to kind of do it like rapid fire style, just because, we're going to get through it. We have a lot to chat about still. So let's hop in, kicking it off incredibly strong with Miss Jade. She released the sixth single from her new album, That Showbiz Baby, called Plastic Box. I absolutely love it. She is just doing this first era so well. And I usually would be like, why are we getting so many singles before the album? Like, it would usually annoy me, but the fact that the music is as good as it is, I am throwing every single rule that I have about an album rollout out the window, because Jade Thirlwall just gets it. And every single song she has put out for this album is so good. And she could release all 14 tracks before the album comes out in September, and I would still be so excited for the album to come out, because it's just top tier quality pop music. I love the beat. I love the vocals. I just love everything about it. And I feel like Jade just knows how to put together a perfect pop song. And I need her to have her main pop girl moment sooner rather than later, because I am buying everything she is selling. It is just perfection. I also feel like the song could have been released in the early 2000s, and like it would have been a banger. And I mean that in like a complimentary way, like not in a way that where it sounds dated or anything. It just sounds like it has that like fresh early 2000s pop beat that we all love. I love this song, and I cannot wait for this album. The next track that we're going to chat about is the Jonas Brothers' new single, No Time to Talk. And I like this a lot. I think it's really fun. It was a fun little sample. They're trying something new. However, I do think that I'm getting to an age where, and this is crazy for me to say, because a lot of my friends and a lot of my followers know me through the Jonas Brothers. However, I do think I am starting to outphase their music, which isn't a bad thing. Like, I think it's normal for people to like grow and their music taste to evolve. And like, I think because I have been a Jonas Brothers fan for so long in my life, like I started listening to them literally in 2006. That is damn near 20 years ago. And they haven't really evolved their music that much. And that's fine. Like, if that's what they want to release forever, do your thing. That is fine. However, I have changed a lot since 2006. I was straight in 2006. I had a girlfriend in 2006. I've had a lot change in my life where, yes, that music is nostalgic and fun, and I will literally ride until the day that I die for the Jonas Brothers self-titled album a little bit longer, Lions, Vines, and Trying Times. Like, I am not shitting on their music. I think they are very talented. However, I just think their music isn't for me anymore, and that is okay. Like, I will always love, I have their lyrics tattooed on my arm. Like, I will always love them. I will always support them. I'll always listen. I'll always go see. I'm just realizing that the music that they are continuing to put out is kind of stuck in a phase of my life that I'm no longer in. And it feels very freeing to say that. You know, it feels very nice to be able to be like, no, it's okay. This isn't for me. It doesn't mean it's bad. I just, I was listening to it and I was like, this isn't bad by all means. Like, it's good music. I am never going to turn this back on the way that I used to put on That's Just the Way We Roll and, you know, like their old songs. Like, it's just never going to have that replay value that it used to have when I was growing up. And that is okay. And like, that's part of growing up. So had a really weird experience with this track when I was listening to it for the first time. I was like, wow, I think I can admit, like, it is not that it's time to like move on. Like I said, I will always go see them on tour. I will always listen to their albums and I love their music. It's good. It's just never going to be the music that I go to first anymore, you know, and it hasn't been that way in a long time. But I think now that I'm doing the podcast and I'm kind of more, not that I'm more in tune with music, but I'm just like, you know, exploring new things and I'm finding new artists and I'm, you know, figuring out who I am or whatever. Like, I'm like, actually, this isn't what I want to listen to. Like, I want to listen to Addison Rae. I want a little more girly pop in my rotation, which has always been in the case, but I've always kind of held on to like that nostalgia factor, which they can't seem to let go of either. But I think it's time for me to let go of that. And, you know, that's okay. And it's very mature of me to do. Moving right along, let me get off my soapbox. Next up is Lola Young, Not Like That Anymore. I really like Lola Young. I know people on the internet have been ragging on her and are not into her. I think she's so cool and so funky and fresh and is seriously like in her own unique little bubble. I'm obsessed. I think her album artwork for her new album coming out later this year is so much fun. She's like standing there with herself and it's her on like a blow up sex doll. Like, it's just... It's out of the box. It's different. It's fun. I don't know. I'm really into it. And I am loving this new single, Not Like That Anymore. I don't really know much about her personal life. Like, I don't look into her past the music. And I don't think I ever need to really get like deeper than that. She's just not like an artist that intrigues me that way. But this song really like gave me... It was very self-reflective, and like kind of gave me a better look into who she is as an artist and as somebody who like doesn't know much about her. I feel like I was able to like know who she was a little bit better after listening to this song. I love the way she kind of singing about like, yeah, shit's gonna happen, but I'm gonna look on the bright side because I also kind of feel that way. I'm like, yeah, you can, you know, shit's gonna go wrong, things are gonna go bad, but at least this one thing went right. Like, I'm always finding the silver lining in things, and that's kind of like the vibe of this song. And I also love the bridge, I think it was, where she said, I got a kick out of declining your call. Like, we all know that feeling where you're like your ex or like somebody you shouldn't be talking to gives you a call and you're like, no, I'm not answering this, and you decline it. It's like, yeah, I don't need to answer your call anymore. I don't need to sleep with you anymore. That's not me. That's not who I am anymore. Loving this track from Lola. Very excited for her album. I think it's going to be really, really good. Moving right along into the next track that we got last week was actually a song that wasn't released or announced rather when I recorded last week, but it is Lorde's third single from Virgin called Hammer. And I would say this single is probably is like the closest to what the rest of the album sounds like, looking at just the 3 singles. So from What Was That, Man of the Year, and Hammer, I think the rest of the album sounds most like this track, which is a good thing. I love this song. I think it is so good. And again, just this whole album is something so new and so fresh for Lorde, and I think it's really going to shock people. I love the line she says, I might have been born again. I'm ready to feel like I don't have the answers. It kind of is that reflection idea of like, now that she's older, she's realizing like she doesn't know half the things that she thought she knew when she was in her 20s. And, you know, like I said, as somebody who was kind of going through that same phase in the same age range with her, I'm like, yeah, this is exactly how we're all feeling. Like, everybody's feeling reborn. Everybody's like, wait, I don't know anything, and I am a different person than I was a few years ago, and like, that is okay. I think this album is going to be really self-reflective, and I mean, we're learning a lot about who she is, like her gender identity and how she identifies, you know, in that sense. So I think there's going to be a lot of, you know, deeper discovery on this album that I'm really excited to like listen to all the lyrics again and like really dive into. I also love the outro of this song. She said, it's a fucked up world, been to hell and back, but I sent you a postcard from the edge. Like, she's like, I've been through so much. This world is so fucked up, but don't worry. I'll make sure I always send you a postcard, even when I'm at my limit and on the edge. Like, you'll hear from me. Don't you worry. I will make sure you hear something from me. So I love that. I'm so excited for everybody to hear this whole album as a whole project because it really is such a unique body of work for her her and really for like any artist. It's a really new sound that I feel like a lot of people aren't diving into, or it's like just very experimental. I am loving it. I cannot wait, and I am loving this single. The next and final single that we're going to talk about is a song that has been a very long awaited, that comes with an album announcement that has even been more long awaited. It is Cardi B, Outside. Also was not announced last week when I recorded, so this was a fun little surprise. But it's been such a long time since her last album. I mean, that came out in 2018, so it's been 7 years. Like, it's been so long. Is that the right math? Whatever. You guys know what I'm saying. It's been a long time since we've heard from Cardi for a full-bodied album. Of course, we've had like singles here and there, but to get like a full album from her, it's been like pulling teeth. And I was honestly starting to get like over waiting for it. I was like, you know what? She's never going to give us an album. Like, I'm not even going to bother. Like, I just don't care anymore. She had her moment. She did her thing. But I am really liking this song. I mean, is it like changing my life? No, but it's a Cardi B single. It's not supposed to. Like, it's fun. It's catchy. I will say I'm surprised that it sounds so much like Black and Yellow. Like, I did think for her comeback single, it would be a little more fresh and a different vibe, but it quite literally is the backtrack of Black and Yellow just sped up a little bit. However, I mean, it's Cardi B. I'm not expecting crazy artistry. And I say that with love. She's fucking funny. Like, she knows how to make a fun bar. She knows how to rap on top of a beat. Like, it is what it is. But I'm very excited to see like what's in store for this album. And we'll talk about more about like the announcement, and there's some drama online surrounding it. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But very excited to see, you know, what is in store for the rest of this album. And then speaking of albums, we had one album come out last week that was on my radar, and it is Haim, I Quit. Now, if you listened to last week's episode, I was saying Haim is never really like my go-to. Like, they're not bad by all means, but I just like don't gravitate towards them. And I listened to the album. I only listened through once, so I definitely want to go back and digest it more. And there were some tracks that I really liked, and then there were some songs where I was like, I'm never gonna have to listen to this again. The ones that I liked, I really liked All Over Me, Take Me Back, Love You Right, Try to Feel My Pain, and then of course Relationships I'm obsessed with. I think it is one of the best songs that has been released this year, which is a spoiler for, you know, the main topic of the episode in just a little bit. But I love Relationships, and those other songs that I mentioned, I really liked it. Take Me Back and Love You Right, I loved. They were so good, I starred them. So I was like, all right, I have to go back to these. But I do want to listen to the album as a whole project again and really like just dive into it a little bit more. But I did enjoy more than I thought I was going to. Like, I didn't think I'd be going to pull away and like enjoy as many songs as I did. So I guess that's a good thing. And that's why I'm happy that, you know, I'm going outside of my comfort zone a little bit. I'm diving into some songs that I wouldn't typically, or albums rather, that I wouldn't typically listen to. And those are all of our releases from last week. Like I said, there was a lot. And then this week is also stacked. We obviously have Lorde Virgin coming out. Lizzo just announced that she is releasing her mixtape, My Face Hurts From Smiling, and she has featured from SZA and Doja on the mixtape. So I'm so excited for this. I've been loving Lizzo's music lately, and I've been loving all like the freestyles that she's been doing on TikTok. So very excited for that. And then we have some singles as well. We have Tyla releasing Is It. We have Jay Stevens, who I love. She's releasing Kiss It. And then we have Reneé Rapp releasing Mad. So that's her second single from her upcoming album. We will chat all about those releases next week. And if anything else gets announced, as artists like to do these days, just announce like last minute when a song is coming out, of course we'll chat about that as well. But that is what is on my radar, and we're going to keep this show rolling, heading into our moments from the week that were just too pop to handle, some pop culture rapid fire, kind of piggybacking with this first one off of what we already talked about. But Cardi B has announced her new album, Am I the Drama, will be released on September 19th. This is the second album that Cardi is giving us, which sounds crazy because she's been around for so long, but it's kind of been like pulling teeth, like I said, getting an album from her. So the album will feature 23 tracks, and believe it or not, you've already heard 3 of them, despite only having one lead single being dropped, which is Outside. Up and WAP will also be included on this album, which is making a lot of controversy online. A lot of people have some mixed feelings about it. I personally don't really care. Like, it doesn't bother me that she's putting these songs on it. Yes, they did come out years ago, but like I said earlier, it's Cardi B. She kind of like marches to the beat of her own drum and like does whatever she wants. And by adding Up and WAP to this album, 2 songs that were like insanely big, the album was already at like 2 billion streams, which, yeah, that is kind of like cheating the system. But I do kind of think that there was another album that was supposed to come out before this, and it kept getting pushed or scrapped. And you guys know how record labels work. It's like, if you're not doing exactly what they want, they don't want to push your music, and they're pushed back. And I don't know. I just kind of feel like they were supposed to be on a different project, but she doesn't want to like leave them in the past as like standalone singles. So she's going to put them on this project. They do stand as the last 2 tracks on the album, which does make me kind of feel like they did get tacked on last minute. But again, I don't really care. Like, I'm kind of like, whatever, like it's her album. If she wants to do it, that's fine. But of course, especially with Cardi and, you know, Cardi and Nicki and all the other rap girls, everyone has lots of opinions, but especially when it comes to the rap girls, like there's always so much beef. And of course, everybody online is saying that, you know, she's cutting corners and she's cheating. And then the other half are like, no, this is genius. Why wouldn't you do it? I'm kind of leaning genius. Like it's kind of so smart to add two of the biggest hits of those years to this album to ensure that the album does get the streams. And they are her songs. So like, why does it matter? And again, this isn't like a drag, but Cardi isn't like an album person. You know, this is only her second album and she's been releasing music for 7 or 8 years now. So it's not like she's somebody who goes through and she's like, all right, every year of my life, I'm going to release an album or I'm going to do it every 2 years. Like she kind of just like marches to the beat of her own drum. So if it was another artist, like if it was somebody who is more of like an album person, like an artist who releases albums more frequently every 2 years, whatever it may be, then I would kind of see where it's like, this is strange. But with Cardi B, she is kind of like a special case because she kind of just does whatever she wants and like hopes for the best. So I don't think it's that big of a deal to really get that worked up over. But of course, the internet is the internet and they're going to freak out. But very excited to see that Cardi is, you know, dipping back into a music era. I will also say it's very interesting that it's literally called Am I the Drama, which is a direct quote from Scarlett Envy on RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm like, did they discuss this before? Scarlett tweeted her about it and was like, you are the drama mama or something along those lines. But I was like, that's like a quote that's made popular through Drag Race. Like that is very much a drag queen situation. So I'm like, it's just another situation of like a mainstream artist stealing from drag queens and not giving them credit where credit is due. You know, like that's where it gets a little sticky for me. However, I mean, Scarlett Envy didn't like trademark the quote, I don't think. And like if she did, then it would be legal. So it's like she can't really, you know, she can't say it's like she's stealing it from her because it is just a quote. But I did think it was very interesting that like a quote that has been so popularized by drag queens is getting used as the title of an album. But maybe that's just me like overthinking things. Who knows? What else would be new? You know, I'm always overthinking a little too much. But yeah, very excited to see what's up for Cardi. She was also at the Cowboy Carter tour over the weekend, which leads us into our next moment from the week. That was just too pop to handle. It appears that Beyonce hates the United States. She had 3 shows for the Cowboy Carter tour over the last few days over in Paris. And my God, did Paris win when it comes to the Cowboy Carter tour. And so before we even get into what happened at the Cowboy Carter tour, I'm not surprised by all of this. More so just shocked. I mean, on the Run tour, that is when she brought out Nicki Minaj and they did Feeling Myself and the Flawless remix. They love to remind us that Blue Ivy was conceived in Paris. Like they love Paris. And the fact that like the one show landed on Juneteenth, we knew Beyonce was going to make a big deal out of that, just especially given like the messaging of all of her albums that she's doing right now. Like that is something for everybody to celebrate, but especially Beyonce, who is really like leaning into, you know, her blackness and her, you know, making sure her community is heard and whatever. So Juneteenth was already had eyes on it for a major Beyonce show, but she just kept the ball going all weekend long. So before the show even starts, she releases new merch. There's a new shirt that says Deja Blue with Blue Ivy's face on it, and she releases a special Juneteenth shirt. And so the Blue Ivy shirt, I will say, I think that's a little strange for like grown people to be wearing a shirt with a 13-year-old on it. However, I'm not gonna yuck somebody's yum, I guess, but I am just kind of like, not to Beyonce. I just think like anyone buying it who's like in their 30s or like a full grown adult, like if you're, you know, and you're a teenager or like maybe like even early 20s, like up to like 25, socially acceptable, wear the Blue Ivy shirt, I don't care. But when you start to hit, you know, like 28, 30, higher than 30, nobody needs to be wearing a Blue Ivy shirt. And that is just my opinion. Unless you are like family or a close friend or beyond, like then I get it. That is fine. But I do think like anyone who bought the shirt, I am looking a little bit sideways at people who bought the shirt that are like in their 30s and plus. It's a little strange to me. But again, not my circus, not my monkeys. However, on the other hand, I thought that the Juneteenth shirt was really cool. And I love the fact that she made it available for everybody. You could buy it online, where usually with Beyonce's like exclusive city shirts or special show shirts, she doesn't make it available online. But I love that this one was available online. Really cool. And like that was just scratching the surface of how insane these Cowboy Carter tour shows were. Because during night 1 on Juneteenth, that crowd was blessed with Miley Cyrus coming out and performing Two Most Wanted with Beyonce live in Paris, which, as somebody who is a huge Beyoncé fan and a huge Miley Cyrus fan, the fact that they performed the song live together is A, mind-blowing, and B, makes me feel insane that I wasn't there to witness it with my own two eyes. I cannot believe that they did this. Like, I thought it was gonna like happen at the Grammys. They were nominated. I was like, that would be such a moment if they performed it together at the Grammys. And once that didn't happen, I kind of was like, all right, maybe it won't, like maybe it's not gonna happen. And then Miley did mention that she was going to be going to the Cowboy Carter tour this summer, and she would be at the Paris shows because her tour, like her promo schedule kind of like overlapped with it. But I was like, she's just gonna go. Like, she's not gonna perform, right? And then early morning, Thursday afternoon, videos of Miley start popping up all over Twitter of her rehearsing Two Most Wanted with Beyonce in the stadium. And I could not believe my eyes. It was unbelievable. They sounded great together. They looked unbelievable. And it was just so cool to see that like Beyonce was able to like seamlessly include the song into the set list. Like, obviously she's very, like, Beyonce's show is very to the T, like down to the wire, down to the minute. She knows when this has to happen. They know when this has to happen. Like, it is a tight run ship over at Parkwood whenever it comes to a show. So I love when Beyonce does bring a special guest out or does something different, because it shows like there's multiple versions of this show that exists. And even when you think back to Renaissance, when she did like the big three, when it was Drunk in Love, All Up in Your Mind, and that was a whole different thing they had to do. They had to play a different interlude. They had to prep the dancers before. They had different stages that had to go out. Like, there's such a science behind the way that her shows work. It is so incredible to me. But just seeing Miley and Beyonce perform together for the first time in so many years. I mean, the last time that they shared a stage together was literally the Stand Up for Cancer in 2008 performance, where Beyonce had that short hair and it was like 18 other divas up on that stage. Like, they haven't done anything really since then. So to see the two of them grown up, fully like, you know, in their elements, up on that stage together, it was just incredible. Like, do I wish that I was there to witness them sing it live? Of course. But I'm just also so happy that we were able to get this video of them performing live. And like, it was unbelievable. I literally could not believe my eyes when I saw the rehearsal videos, when I saw her coming out on stage. It was crazy. Also, like, Beyonce's little speech before she came out, like, you can tell that Beyonce really does admire Miley and like loves her and appreciates her. And like, Miley submitted a lot of songs for Cowboy Carter for Beyonce to, you know, work with. And like, that's just cool. Like, Beyonce's very selective with who she worked with. You know, she's not just like handing out these opportunities to everybody. So the fact that she has that respect for Miley, which I feel like a lot of artists and people haven't always had for her in the music industry, it's just cool to see that, you know, there's that mutual respect for two artists who I admire and love so much. And then, as if that wasn't enough, on the third night of Paris, she brought out Jay-Z, and they performed together for the first time in 7 years, which is insane, because there was a period of time where they were going on tours together. Every single tour, he was coming out for at least one show. I mean, there was a period of time where every time I saw Beyonce, Jay-Z came out for at least one song, it felt like. Like, it was a constant thing, which makes sense. That is her husband, like, I understand. But the fact that it's been so long since they performed together didn't even register to me. And when I read that, I was like, that's actually crazy that he finally came out and they did a whole set together. So in the show, she sings Crazy in Love, but she does the homecoming version of the song. But this night in Paris, she did the homecoming version, and then it stopped, and then it picked up with the regular beat. Jay-Z came out, he did his entire verse, then he performed Beep in Paris. Obviously, I'm not saying the first word of that song. They performed Drunk in Love together, and then they performed Partition, which out of all of those, Partition is like my favorite Beyonce song of all time. So the fact that she performed it with Jay-Z in Paris and I wasn't there, and 2 days before she performed Two Most Wanted with Miley Cyrus in Paris and I wasn't there. Yeah, it definitely stings a little bit, but you know what? At least it wasn't like in New York and I wasn't there. It was literally across the world and I wasn't there. So like, it takes the sting away a little bit more. But back to my idea of like her having so many versions of these shows, the fact that they had full choreography, the dancers had entire routines to Drunk in Love, to Partition, to all of these songs that are not regularly performed on this tour, is so impressive and just speaks to the way that Beyonce runs a tour and has her dancers. Like, her dancers literally know these dances. This is probably the only time this is going to happen. Like, I doubt she's going to keep bringing them out bringing Jay out, to do this set. Like, this isn't going to be a, every time thing. So the fact that they had these dances just in the back of their mind, as if they aren't performing for 3 hours every single night at the Cowboy Carter tour, she's like, oh, just have these dances on standby, and like, when we need them, we'll pull them out. Like, what else do they have? What other songs are rehearsed and choreographed, and like, what other versions of this show does she have ready to go for other things? She's about to perform in Houston this weekend, which obviously is her hometown, and like, what is she going to do there? She still has DC on the 4th of July, and like, I'm sure she's going to do something special in Vegas for closing weekend. Like, I'm like, what other tricks do you have up your sleeve? And like, what more do these dancers have to learn? Like, what do they know that we don't even know yet? Like, I think the most impressive thing is the fact that these dancers have all of these things just stored in their memory, waiting for it to happen. Like, it's crazy. And like, when you really think about the way Beyonce operates, it is insane. She operates at an insane level of artistry, and people still want to say she's not the greatest artist of all time. I just don't understand. It really blows my mind. But we only have 10 shows left at the Cowboy Carter tour. Like, it's really, it came and it went. It started and it's ending as fast as it did. So very excited to see what is in store for these next 10 shows. We have Houston, we have DC, we have Atlanta, and we have Vegas. I think that's all of them. I could be missing somewhere, but that feels right. 10 shows, 4 cities. Yeah, that feels about right. So coming to an end very soon, which is very sad, but also it's like, all right, that means we're that much closer to Act 3, and like, who knows what's coming for that. So very exciting time to be a Beyonce fan. I mean, it always is, but very exciting to see like what other tricks she pulls out, because it's a little scary. I'm like, what other tricks are you going to pull out of your sleeves on the rest of this tour? Very, very crazy. And while we're on the topic of concerts, you guys know that's my favorite news to report. Reneé Rapp has announced the Bite Me tour, which is so exciting. I'm so excited for this album and just for this era, and I've been loving everything she's been giving us. And she teased it with these tabloids, which I thought was really fun. She made all these like fake newspapers and like tabloids that said like Reneé Rapp, like all these like, fake rumors or whatever on it, which I think is just so fun and kind of like dives into that like early 2000s Y2K like tabloid culture, which obviously was very toxic, but it's fun the way that people like play into it now and like make it a thing and like almost make fun of what once was like the way that we found out our news about people. So she did all of these like tabloids and newspapers and did a whole photo shoot outside, and in there it said something about like she's been missing for these days or something along those lines. I forget exactly what it was, so excuse me. But it was the dates of the tour. So she was doing 17 dates this fall. She's bringing Sid and Raven Lenae along to open, and she has some pretty big moments on this tour. So the cities that she's hitting, she has Colorado, Illinois, Michigan, New York City, Boston, Toronto, Maryland, Columbus, Ohio, Portland, Oregon, San Francisco, Inglewood, California, Austin, Texas, Irving, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Tampa, Florida, and Charlotte, North Carolina. So it's kind of a short tour. It's only 17 dates. As of now, there's only 1 date per city. I mean, that does usually change when, if there's a demand, they'll add a second show or, who knows. But I think like what's craziest to me and the most exciting is the fact that Reneé Rapp is playing Madison Square Garden. And now 2 years ago, it had to be, I saw her perform at like the tiniest little bar in Brooklyn. And now she is performing at Madison Square Garden. It is insane to me. And I am so proud and like so excited to see her on a stage that big, because she has a major stage presence. And I've seen her do big shows. I saw her headline Gov Ball. I saw her headline All Things Go. Like, I've seen her on a big stage before, and it was her own set. But like, to see her bring her own tour and her own like concept and everything to a stage the size that is Madison Square Garden is going to be so exciting. And I had some friends ask, and I had some people see like posting online, they were like, Reneé Rapp can't sell out the Garden. And to that, I raise you. Reneé Rapp sold out 5 shows in New York City for her first tour. They had such a high demand that they had to keep adding shows. They ended up adding shows in Brooklyn and adding more shows in New York. I think they even did like a venue upgrade at one point. I could be wrong, but there was definitely 5 shows that were sold out on her first tour. So I don't think she's gonna have any issue selling out the Garden if she did it 5 times on smaller shows. Like, I think it's going to end up equating to the Garden, especially considering that tour was promoting her first album and like she had music out and whatever, but it wasn't like a full body of work yet. Like, by this time, she obviously has her EP, her first album, and the second album will be out. So I don't think she's gonna have any issue booking that stage you speak of, as Rihanna would say. But I'm just so excited to see that she is like really just like going for it this era. And you guys know I adore Reneé Rapp. I cannot wait to see what this album has in store. So excited for this single this Friday. Just very exciting things for Reneé Rapp coming her way this year, which we love to see. And moving right along into the next and final moment of the week that was just too pop to handle. There's been some drama online surrounding Miley Cyrus and Naomi Campbell, and I've been dying to get on here and chat with you guys about it. So if you did not see, Miley announced that she will be releasing Every Girl You've Ever Loved on like a 12-inch vinyl single, assuming that means it's going to be the next single that is like pushed out, which I think is a genius idea because that song is incredible. However, she announces this while she's in London, and then announces that she will be at Rough Trade, which is a record store in London, signing the first 100 vinyls for the fans who show up. So it's her and Naomi doing this meet and greet at Rough Trade. It's like a last minute thing, very last minute, very rushed, like very exciting, whatever. And it appears that Miley and Naomi haven't seen each other since they filmed the video together because they had an awful lot to catch up on. So it seemed during this signing. If you didn't see the videos, the fans were like walking up to the table and giving them their vinyl, and they were like chit-chatting amongst themselves while the fan was standing there. But then I saw a lot of other people have completely different experiences, and the general consensus that I got from everything I saw online was that if you walked up to Miley and Naomi and like initiated a conversation and you were trying to like converse with them, they were friendly as could be. They were chatting with people, they were doing whatever. But if you like walked up, said hello, and handed them the vinyl and then just like let it be, they were chatting together. And then a lot of people were like, oh my God, they didn't even pose for my photo. They just were like talking while I tried to take a picture, which is exactly how it appears on camera. But then when you find out that Rough Trade told them no photos, but Miley insisted in having her photographer take videos and try to snap photos while they were meeting them because she wanted the night to be captured, like they weren't supposed to be taking photos at all. So the fact that there was even somebody there to like capture it for you on your phone, yeah, like there wasn't supposed to be any posed photos. So if you happen to snap a picture and she wasn't looking, like it was kind of just like you make the most of the moment. And I've been to a lot of events, like I've been to a lot of signings and meet and greets and things like that. So not that I know how these things work, but I know how these things work. It's like you have to make the most of the situation and like the most of your time. You have 15 seconds tops while you're up there, and you can either waste it and stand there and look like an idiot and not do anything, or you can, make the most of it and be like, oh, let's pose for the photo, or like, initiate it. I think a lot of people just expect so much from these artists. And like, I even think to like what happened with Doja Cat last week when that fan gave her the shirt and was like hugging all over her. And then she was like, oh, I was so uncomfortable and whatever. Like, I saw both sides in that situation as well, where like Doja was saying like, hey, in the moment, yeah, of course I'm going to act kind and friendly and whatever, but I did feel uncomfortable and you did kind of come on a little too strong. And I don't think she's wrong for saying that. Like, I didn't think Doja was wrong in that situation. And I don't think Miley's wrong in this situation where she was like, I was there to do a signing. Every single vinyl that was given out that night, we paid for it. Like, you didn't have to buy the vinyl yourself. They were just giving out the vinyl to the first 100 people who showed up. They got to meet Miley and Naomi completely free. It's like, you got what the thing was supposed to be. Like, you were supposed to get there, get a free vinyl, get it signed, and keep it pushing. Had Miley not pushed to get people to take photos and record or whatever, like none of this would have even happened. And then she posted a photo today, actually, and she said, our vinyl was originally set to drop a week later, but since we were both in London, Rough Trade East made it happen day of. I wanted to give my Smilers an exclusive experience and an unreleased vinyl to thank you for the love you've shown me in the UK over the years. I saw so many familiar faces and met some sweet new ones. The record store requested no photos due to the unexpected last minute turnout, but we knew that the night needed to be captured. Thank you to Vijat, her photographer, for snapping those in the moment shots. To everyone who came out to celebrate our single, we love you. So clearly she's like, not that this is a statement or like she's not apologizing. I don't think she needs to apologize, but I saw some people being like, you could have at least like tried to make a little bit better. And it's like, why people are just never happy is what I'm coming to the conclusion of. Like you can literally give somebody a free unreleased vinyl and an opportunity to meet you as an artist, and they still are unhappy because they didn't get the photo that they wanted, or they didn't have the conversation that they wanted. And it's like, It's just, I think people give too much, like they have too many high expectations when it comes to meeting their favorite artist or like an artist interaction. And like, that's where those unhealthy stan behaviors come in and the parasocial kind of lies in, because they expect this big crazy moment, and like when it doesn't live up to their expectations, they crash out and they go to Twitter and they're ripping them apart, and it's a whole thing. And it's like, I just think the community based around like fan to artist, like the relationship between fan to artist, the line has gotten so blurred, and like social media and the internet has made us expect these grand, great gestures and these, you know, like these artists like bend over backwards for their fans. And I'm like, at the end of the day, like, why does this artist owe you anything? Like Miley could have just like made you pay for the vinyl. Miley could have like pre-signed everything. Miley didn't have to do anything. None of these artists owe us anything other than giving us music. And when they give us anything, whether it's a little or a lot, it doesn't matter. They're still doing something more than they need to do. You know what I mean? Like their job at the core is to make and release music. Everything else is extra that they need to do to promote it. So just because, and this is very like reminiscent of like the whole Chapel situation last year, like just because a person is a musical artist doesn't make them an object for a fan to fawn over, and that deserves a certain interaction, that deserves a certain, you know, experience with them. All of that is just extra, because at the end of the day, all they're supposed to be doing is releasing music. Like there's such a warped perception of how an artist is supposed to treat their fans these days. Of course, treat people with respect, give back to the people who are giving you this platform. I totally agree with that and understand that. But when people then expect these grand experiences and gestures and whatever, it's like, it just makes it so, it's such like it's a double-edged sword, you know, like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But like this situation specifically, I was like, I don't think they did anything wrong. Like, I don't think Miley or Naomi is wrong in this situation. They were told they were going to show up, sign vinyls, and that's what they were doing. And then Miley was like, no, let's record it. Let's do photos, whatever. They didn't really have time to do photos anyway. Like, it was supposed to be a quick thing. Like, it was a signing. You showed up and you got something signed. Why are we complaining? I thought this was crazy. And the takes that I was seeing online about it were so insane that I was like, I've got to talk about this in the podcast, because it was a lot, to say the least. Like, it was a lot for something that didn't deserve that much attention. I don't know. I just didn't think it was as big of a deal as everybody was making it. And I know that I am in the unpopular opinion there, but I just hope that people start to realize, like, these artists don't owe you shit other than music. And even if they don't give you music, they don't owe you that anyway, because it is what they are doing. Like, nobody is owed anything in this type of situation, you know? And yeah, I think people are being a little too harsh on the situation. But that's just where I stand there. And now moving right along into the main segment of the show, now that we are more than halfway through 2025, which is an insane sentence to say, but now that we are, you know, halfway through the year, I thought it would be fun to take a look back at the music that we have gotten so far this year and just do like a roundup of my favorite songs of the year so far. We have so much more music coming out for the rest of the year, so I thought it would be cool to like look at what I'm vibing with now, and then at the end of the year when I do like my roundup of the entire year, seeing what songs stuck or if anything got replaced or dropped off, and just, you know, doing a little comparison of like the mid-year to the end-year check-in. So this list is in no particular order. I kind of just wrote them out as they came to me, and yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I just kind of wrote them out as they came to me. So let's kick off this list, kicking it off incredibly strong with What Was That by Lorde. Since hearing the album and now knowing like what the whole project sounds like I said, Hammer is definitely the most, you know, reflective and reminiscent of what the rest of the album sounds like. However, I do think What Was That was the smartest choice for this single, only because it does sound like the rest of the album. Like, it has that same essence of what all of Virgin encompasses, but it doesn't give away too much. Like, I think with What Was That, you get a little bit of what's to come on the album, but like when we all listen to the album this week and it all comes out, like I think everyone's going to be really surprised at the direction that it takes. And I think What Was That being the lead single gave you a little bit of taste of it without giving away too much, where I think Hammer kind of leaned into it a little bit more of like the sound and like the vibe of the album, which I'm all for. Like, Hammer to me is the like the stronger single for the album, but as an individual song, I do think What Was That was the perfect choice. I mean, it also was like her comeback. And like when you think of Lorde comeback singles, like it was Green Light, it was Solar Power, and now this, like they're really strong songs that really do kind of give you the backbone of the album. So What Was That absolutely needed a spot on this list, and I don't see it changing. I do think it will stick out through the rest of the year, but I do think there will be more Lorde songs from this album on my list by the end of the year. But you know, that is for December Andrew to figure out. Moving on to the second song on this list is Walk of Fame by Miley Cyrus. Now, when I heard the song for the first time, it was at the Spotify listening event, so it was like a month and change before the album actually came out. And when I left there, I was like, this is my favorite as of right now, but don't say it is going to be your favorite when the album comes out, because obviously I wanted to just like digest it more and really like sit with the album, and like it could have just been the excitement of being there, and it's just the only one that like caught my eye or whatever it was. However, since listening to the album as many times as I had and digesting it and doing the whole episode with Talk Miley to me, I can confidently say that Walk of Fame is not only my favorite song from Something Beautiful, but will definitely be one of my favorite songs of 2025. I just think the way that like the verses are a little more in like her lower register kind of, and like not slowed down, but like they build into what the chorus is, and like the chorus feels so like celebratory and like big and grand, and then like it goes back into that kind of like slower kind of vibe with the verses. And then also having Brittany Howard on the track is kind of like haunting almost. Like she has this like feeling of like this, just like the way that her voice kind of complements Miley and goes on top of the tracks. And there's that like the I don't know if it's like singing or like the, I'm not going to imitate it, but there's like the like howling almost on it. Like it's just like, there's a lot of factors to this song that really like make it a whole experience. And with or without the visual, that was another thing. Like when I heard the song for the first time, it was while watching the Something Beautiful film. So I was like, is it because of the visual that I love this song so much? But I can say Walk of Fame stands fabulously on her own and is 100% one of my favorite songs of the entire year. Next up, we have Miss Lady Gaga, Killa. Now, I think this song is just so fun and kooky and out of the box. And I remember the first time I heard it, I was at the release event at House of Yes when they did a whole mayhem night, and then they played the album at midnight. So when I heard the song for the first time, I was on a dance floor with like go-go boys swinging above me, and I was with a bunch of my friends, and you know, we definitely had some, you know, we weren't totally sober, to say the least. So definitely had a lot of factors going on as to why this song like spoke to me so much. But the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, no, this is one of the most exciting pop songs we have gotten in years. The way that it's got like that explosive outro at the end, and Gaga's just kind of like talking her shit while she's doing it. And it's a little like groovy. And it's like kind of this point in the album where we've had like Abracadabra, and we've had, you know, we've had so Disease, and like so many of these moments, and then we get Killa that kind of is like the odd man out at this point in the album. It's what, like track number 6, I want to say, on the album. It's like just about a midway point, and I think like where it stands in the album fits perfectly. But the song is itself, like taking it out of the album and just listening to Killa as a standalone song, I just think it's so creative and different and unique. And it really just like that like breakdown, and like the way it has like the high guitars, and like there's almost like an uncomfortableness to it that like makes it like it's not as traditional Gaga, if that makes sense. And I think that's why I'm drawn to it so much. I love like her higher range on it, how she goes up in it and then she goes like back down with it. Just like a lot of really fun elements to this song that I don't think is going to be, it's not easily done by other artists. And I just think it is absolutely perfect. Next up, we have Miss Addison Rae, New York. This song, I can't get enough of it. I'm obsessed with it. And yes, I am biased because I live in New York, but just the way that this song has like her airy vocals, on the verses, and then the chorus kicks in and it's like that fast pace. It really feels like this idea of like romanticizing New York during the verses, but then in the chorus, it's like the fast paced anxiety kind of, you know, it's hustle and bustle of New York. It really, as I listen to it, I always feel like I'm like, this is how people see the city and this is how New York feels. And like some people, they romanticize New York to a point where like once they get here, they end up hating it. I am somebody who just like loves New York so much, the city and the song, but like talking about the city where like when I moved here, like I knew what was in store. And I think this song like kind of plays both of it. And I love like her singing about like the things that she loves about New York. And it's so much fun. And like the end, she has like that, like the breath part on it, and then it picks up again. It's just so well done and so much fun. And like, what a killer opening track for an album. I love this song so much. Next up, we have Relationships by Haim, which I kind of hinted at earlier in the episode. I just think this song is so fun and well done. And again, I am not a big Haim person. Like Haim isn't an artist that I typically gravitate towards, but this song just does something to me. And I don't know why. It like scratches an itch in my brain. The way it got like the high pitched on the like the pre-chorus, and then it kind of slows down and has like the jagged, like the why am I, like I like the way it kind of goes back and forth. I love it. I think the song is great. I do wish the rest of the album had more tracks that were reminiscent of this, but it kind of makes the song a little more special because it is like a one of a kind. Love this song, just phenomenal. Next up, we have Can We Talk About Isaac by my girl Rachel Chinariri. When this song came out, I remember talking about it, and I was describing it as like it kind of has this like build up moment in the bridge where it's like building up to like this first kiss, and then it has this like explosive guitar moment after it. I remember when I talked about it, I posted it on TikTok, and Rachel commented, she was like, that's exactly what I wanted. I'm so glad that you were able to pick up on that. And I just think like between the lyrics of this song and the way that the song kind of tells the story sonically, it really creates a really cool experience of just like music and like what you want to feel when you're listening to a love song. It makes you feel the anxieties of love, but also the happiness of love. And it makes you feel all of the different emotions and range of feelings that happen in a relationship and the stages before a relationship. And just like listening to Rachel's first album, What a Devastating Turn of Events, and all the things that are like about heartbreak there, for her to now be writing like such love songs on this EP. I thought it was such like a cool switch for her because she's really showing like where she's at in that part of her life. But just as a song in itself, I think it's just so much fun, and it really does capture all of the essences of the talking stage, being in a relationship, and like, the celebration of what it means to be in love and to be in a relationship. So Can We Talk About Isaac by Rachel Chinariri? I just love it. Another song that I love, obviously, because it is my favorite song of 2025, is Warm by Ariana Grande. This, as soon as I listened to the Eternal Sunshine Deluxe tracks, I was like, this is the song for me. I love the vocals on this track. I love the way it kind of builds up and it kind of slows back down. A lot of, you can tell like with the music I like when it kind of takes you to different places and it starts at point A and gets you to point B, and maybe it goes back to point A and then goes back. I love a song that kind of keeps you on your toes, and I feel like Warm is a really good example of that because, the chorus kind of has this like bigger, grander moment, similar to like Walk of Fame, and then it gets into that bridge and it like slows down and it's like, it's like relaxed and it's kind of whatever, and then it picks right back up with those high notes on top of it. And I think it's really cool the way Ariana can plays around with different vocal techniques now. I feel like she kind of got stuck in that idea of like having to do the high notes and the whistle notes and the whistle tones or whatever, but she's really like playing around with different vocal techniques and production styles, and I think it is just a fabulous way for her to show off all of her vocal abilities, and I love this track so much. Next up on this list, we have Salvation by Rebecca Black. Definitely a switch from Warm to Salvation by Rebecca Black, but it's my list, not yours, so it is what it is. I feel like I waited so long for Rebecca Black to put out this EP. We got so many singles, and I was loving them, and I was eating them up, and then when it finally got here, it just gave us everything that I wanted. And this track on the album, or the EP, whatever it is, it's just so good. And I think it's the opening track on the album, I'm pretty sure. And I think it just really sets the tone for the project that's to come. And with Rebecca Black, she's a really interesting case because we all met her with Friday, which couldn't be more different than who Rebecca Black actually is. So to see her releasing these tracks that are so hyper pop, and she seems so like happy and content with the music she's putting out, this track just does it for me. I don't have any deeper reasoning as to why. It just kind of similar to like what I was saying, like with relationships, it just like scratches an itch in my brain, and it just feels good to me. It's fun, it's upbeat, It's so good. I love this track. I love that entire project. Honestly, I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. It's seriously like such a well done, well-rounded project. I am obsessed. Rebecca Black, you will always be famous. Moving on, we have Miss Doechii, Nosebleed. So this was the freestyle that she put out after she won her Grammy. And I just think the song, similar to what I was saying with like Warm, it kind of takes you to so many different places, and she freestyles a little bit, she sings a little bit. And I mean, I love a track when an artist is just like talking their shit and like, you know, she's like, what would happen if Doechii didn't win? I guess we'll never know. And then like when it comes in with that beat, like that beat is nasty, and she's just talking her shit. And just knowing that the song is her celebrating being the third Black woman in history to win this, it's just so major. And this track, it really, I think after that night, people knew Doechii was a big deal, but like after the Grammys, a lot of people I feel like jumped on it. And for her to release this right after the Grammys and like really give people an idea of like the weird shit that Doechii gets into musically, I thought it was so well done, and I love it. It's just like, it's like a hype song. It slows down a bit. I love when an artist talks their shit on a track, and that is exactly what Nosebleeds is for Doechii. Next up on this list should come to no surprise from anybody, because even earlier in this episode, I was talking about how much I just love this artist, but it is It Girl by Jade. This song really just blows me away. The way it has like the slowed down intro, and even in between the choruses, it kind of slows down again, and she does this like really gorgeous vocal on top of it. And then it comes in with this like hyper poppy fun beat on top of it, and she is just like talking her shit. It's a little robotic, but in like a good way. This song has so many elements of what I love about so many different songs, so the way that she took them and combined it all together and made like a hyper pop song that also has like a sick high range vocal on it and still has like a fun beat you can dance to it. It just has all the elements that I love about so many different songs all put together into one, and Jade is just killing it. Like she is the one to watch right now. I am obsessed, and I will be spearheading the campaign to make sure she is a main pop girl. Like I love everything she does, but It Girl seriously blows it out of the water for me. It is phenomenal. Next up, we have 30 for 30 by SZA featuring Kendrick. I think this song is so much fun. Again, I've talked so much about how SZA and Kendrick are like musical superstars, musical soulmates, excuse me. They really just like work so well together. Their voices blend together, their vibes together, the way that they write and their flow just hits together so well. And this song is fantastic. I will say I don't listen to Lana, the deluxe version of SOS, as much as I listen to Control and SOS. I just find myself not going back to it that often. Not that it's not good. I think Control and SOS just have such a chokehold on me that sometimes I forget to go back to it with the other two bodies of work. But 30 for 30, like when that comes on at the gym and I'm like on the treadmill or something, it just puts me in such a happy mood, and it's just fun. They're like going back and forth. I love the beat. I just love it. I think it is such a great showcase of the two of their talents, and like they're having fun, they're doing their thing. It makes me just feel good, like sometimes a song doesn't need to like change your life or be this like crazy well-produced track to just like make you feel good and be a great song. Love this song. The two of them seriously are like a match made in music heaven, and I will always eat up everything the two of them put out. Moving on to the second to last track on this list. So technically this song was released in 2024. However, it was released as like a digital bonus track, and then it wasn't released like on streaming to everybody until 2025, and I'm still counting it. It is Busy Woman by Sabrina Carpenter. I remember when this song first came out last year, you had to like download the digital version of the album from her website, and I was like, this is brilliant. This is genius. I love it. And when it got released to the public and everyone was able to eat it up, I was like, yes, thank God Busy Woman is getting the flowers that it deserves, because it is just fantastic. I seriously love this track so much. Even listening to it now, having had it for as long as I've known about the song, and so many people did, but like, it wasn't out to the general public for that long. Listening to it now, it still feels as fresh as it did when it first came out. And I just love that like it's so playful and fun. It's like I feel like it really just like fully encapsulates Sabrina Carpenter and her entire essence, and I think it just is fabulous. And I'm so glad that she didn't just keep it as like an exclusive track and did end up releasing it to everyone. fabulous song. I love the way Sabrina genre hops, and I love the way that she kind of is so playful with her lyrics, and the message of the song and the sound of the song don't necessarily match up. Like, she is quite literally being like, I'm a busy woman, so if you fuck up, like, I'm out, like, I'm gonna leave you. And like, she could have done that as like kind of like a different vibe to it, but I love like the twang. It really just makes it her own. And I think she really is just so good at owning who she is and being able to play around with different sounds and genres while still staying true to who she is. Fabulous execution on that. And then the final song on this list is Taste by Coco Jones. This was the lead single for her upcoming out, or her new album, excuse me, that is now out. And this song, just the way that she sampled Britney in it in such a different, unique way, like the way that she was able to take such a well-known song like Toxic by Britney Spears and completely make it her own, but still pay homage to it. And it's so sexy, and you know, her vocals are just so like delicious on this song. She sounds great. The slowed down version of the Britney sample, and I think it was the perfect song to release as the lead single for this album, because it was like, oh no, like I can take a song as big as Toxic, make it my own, but still make it incredible. This song does not get nearly enough praise as it deserves because it is seriously fantastic. And now, like I said, there was no rhyme or reason to how I ordered these songs, or, you know, like I didn't rank them or anything. It was just kind of how they came to me as I was writing the list and going through my playlist and like picking songs from it. But I'm so excited to like look at this list in December and then kind of come back to it and see like what songs hold up and what I'm still listening to, because I tend to like put songs in and out of rotation. You know, I go through phases, and like there are some songs that I know that like Hilla, Walk of Fame, and New York, I can confidently say those will still be on my list by the end of the year. Those songs just like I love them, but like there might be a different song. Like with Lorde's album coming out, like it might be, maybe there'll be two songs, like maybe it'll be What Was That and something else on that list, or like, you know, I'm curious to see like what songs get added to it, if any of these get taken off or like bumped, if I forget about them or anything. And also like if I do forget about any of these songs in December, when I look back at this, I'm like, oh my God, it's like rediscovering a whole new song, you know? So that is my list of my favorite songs thus far, 2025. And let me know down in the comments what your list looks like for your favorite song of the year so far, because maybe there's a song that I don't know about, or a song that like I completely glazed over, forgot about, but I would love to hear from you guys and what you guys are loving so far this year. And that brings us to our second to last segment of this show. That means it is time for our TV recap, which means it is another day in the workroom, and we are recapping RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 10, and we are on our second episode with this bracket. And I have to say, I think people are being a little too harsh on this group of girls. A lot of people are saying it's boring, they don't like this group. I think there's a fine group. Like, I don't know why people are having such a harsh reaction to this group. I don't know what it is. They are definitely it's a very like random group of girls. Like, these girls wouldn't really work together, I don't think, as a whole if it wasn't for this bracket. But I don't think it's a bad group. Like, I think they each bring something, whether it's entertainment value, great drag, like they all bring something to this bracket. And I just kept seeing so many bad takes online about people not liking this bracket or whatever it is. People are saying it's rigged for Ginger, which we'll get into. I don't know. That's just my take. I don't think this bracket is as bad as half the internet is making it out to be, but that's just me. You guys know I hate reading anything on the internet these days, because I'm like, oh, everyone is just miserable and no one can just be happy anymore. It has to be a whole think piece on everything. But that is neither here nor there. Let's get into this episode. So we started the episode and the girls are very congenial and they give their points away to their partners, which I think is cute in the first episode. However, if they continue doing that, like, it's going to get boring, you know, like it's going to get to a point where it's like, oh, okay, you all work together, so we're going to give each other points. So I think it's fine for round one, but I don't want to see this for, you know, the next episode when they have to give away points. Like, I want it to be a switch up, get a little catty, get a little drama, you know. I don't think it should be congenial the entire time through. As far as Acid Betty's point system, I'm not into it. It feels a lot more vicious than what Mistress was doing. And Mistress was like, just like being, you know, she was being shady, but like Acid Betty is being nasty about it. Like when Daya was like, oh, what are you doing with your points? She was like, you're not getting one, like being rude about it. And like, it's one thing to like be funny and, you know, like make a joke and whatever, like Mistress was doing. But when Acid Betty does it, I think she's like dead serious, and there's no like, it's just like when something about the way Acid Betty is playing this game feels like she's doing it from like a dark spirited way. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was just like, I don't know if I love the way that she's conveying her point system here, but I don't know. So this week's challenge, the girls have to write and record their own verses to perform at Stagecoach RuPaul's Country Music Festival. We're having a little hoedown, throwdown, which I thought was just hilarious. Like, I was literally cracking up when Ru was explaining this entire challenge. It was so funny. And I thought both groups honestly did a really good job. I was entertained the entire time. You know, they were definitely stronger people, this or that. But like as a whole, I thought the choreo, I thought the outfits were great. Like I thought the lyrics were fun. I think the girls did a great job this week. My standouts were definitely Denali, Ginger, and Daya. Cynthia was just fun to watch, I will say. Like Cynthia Lee Fontaine is just funny and it comes natural, it feels like. She doesn't even try to be funny and it is just so entertaining and she's so endearing. I'm having so much fun watching her in her All-Stars era. I thought she was so much fun to watch. I also was obsessed with Denali's outfit for this challenge. That like fur, the way it moved on her, but still was like country. It was so cool. And I also wonder, like, do the girls bring their looks for this challenge? Because everyone looked like they were uniform, but like they couldn't have known who they were going to be teamed up with. So I'm curious like how that worked, you know, because they all looked like a cohesive group, but like they couldn't have known that they were going to be paired up with each other. So I wonder if it was like, oh, bring something this color, this style, whatever, or like how that worked. Because I really loved the outfits for this challenge. I thought it was really, they all did a really good job. Whoever dressed them, if they dressed themselves, whatever it was, they all looked fabulous. Normally I look at the outfits on the challenges and I'm like, oh yeah, they look good. But for some reason this week, like Ginger's I loved Cynthia's, like Daya's was cool. Like I really loved all of the outfits for the actual challenge this week, which normally I don't notice them as much, but these were just fabulous. I really, really loved them. As far as the runway, oh my God, Night of 1,000 Mileys. How exciting. Miley actually told my friend Jocelyn when we met her at Rough Trade that she heard that they were doing this. And Jocelyn was like, is she really going to do it? Like, I don't know. We were like chatting about it. And then when they announced it this week, I was like, no fucking way did Miley like tell us about this. And we truly were like, maybe she's lying. She's making it up. Lo and behold, here it is. So let's get into it. Kicking it off first, we had Acid Betty doing 2015 VMAs. I didn't love this look. I'm going to be honest. I didn't love like the drawn on breasts. I thought that was weird. It just didn't do it for me. The hair was like cool and very Acid Betty, but it didn't give Miley. Like if I looked at this look not knowing the reference, I wouldn't have pulled that look. Like I wouldn't have even known it was a Miley look, which was the point of the episode. So this one, kind of a miss for me, unfortunately. Next up, we had Alyssa Hunter, who was dressed as Miley at the Grammys when she performed Flowers. I love this. I thought it was so much fun. It moved so beautifully. She was giving Miley up on there, like the way she was moving around the stage, her hair, everything about this was fabulous. I really, really loved it. It was really close to the original, but still kind of gave her own spin on it. But you can tell that she was referencing Miley. This was a great week for Alyssa Hunter. Next up, we had Denali, who did the 2013 VMAs. And then when they announced this, I was like, somebody's got to do the iconic teddy bear ripped to like the nude, whatever the fuck that was. And I was so happy when I saw that Denali did this. Also, how did she pack that teddy bear that she wore on her back? Like, how did she bring that to All Stars? That thing was massive, but I'm so glad that she brought it because it really just like brought the look together. This was fabulous. This was a really great week for Denali. Next up, we had Cynthia, who did the 2015 VMA performance. This was a great reference and a lot of fun. And I love the way that she tied all the other queens who did that performance with her and like were like pointing out Miley's allyship. Thought it was genius. Thought it was so well done. It was a lot of fun. Cynthia, like I said, she's just fun to watch. And this look was the perfect, explanation and encapsulation of how much fun I think Cynthia Lee Fontaine is. Next up, we had Daya Betty, who did the 2013 Met Gala. And this was genius for Daya to do. She looked incredible, but it also like was something that Daya Betty would wear. It was so perfectly done and picked for her. She looked great. I loved it. I thought this was a killer look for Daya Betty. And finally, we have Ginger Midge, who went for the Younger Now era Miley, which is such a smart decision for Ginger, but also just so smart because a lot of people wouldn't opt for that era because I feel like it's like a less popular era for Miley. I thought this was so smart. I thought she looked great. It wasn't my favorite of the week by all means. Like it wasn't, I wasn't like gagging by it. It was like, a leather jacket and leather pants or whatever it was. And like, it was really cool and well constructed. I love that she still did the Younger Now on the back and like the minge buckle, really well put together. But just like as a look, even when Miley wore it, like it's not the craziest thing ever, but I thought this was so smart for Ginger to go with. We end up finding out that the top two are Denali and Ginger, and they lip sync to See You Again, which is so iconic. I mean, what a fucking banger. And Ginger ends up winning. And this is where people are having a lot of issues with like the Ginger being rigged of it all. Here's my thing. RuPaul doesn't always love all the flips and the tricks and the constant moving. Sometimes she does prefer a performer who is kind of just like giving the lyrics of the song and is not just, you know, flipping and splitting and doing tricks and whatever, which the Drag Race fandom loves, but RuPaul doesn't always fall for that. She's not always like into the flips and the tricks. She wants just like a fun lip sync or like a lip sync that like conveys emotion. And that's what Ginger gave. I thought Denali knocked it out of the park. Like she was bringing it. However, knowing RuPaul and knowing how Ru does kind of prefer, you know, she has her preferences on lip syncs. I'm not surprised by her picking Ginger, but I do totally see why people did think Denali was going to win. But when you think about RuPaul and like how Ru kind of looks at lip syncs and judges lip syncs, it's not always who can do the most backflips. It is who portrays the song the best on that stage. And to Ru, it was Ginger. I don't think it is being rigged for Ginger to win. I think this is Ginger Minj's 4th time on All Stars. If she wasn't winning every week, it would be, I would raise an eyebrow. I was like, this is your 4th time doing this. Why are you not at the top of the game? And like, rightfully so. She's Ginger Minj. She's very talented. And that is Drag Race this week. We are coming down to our final episode with this bracket this week, which is crazy. But I am excited to like see our 12 girls or however many we're going to get after 9 girls after this and see like how the game continues. We've got to be coming to the finale soon. I think we probably have like 4, maybe 5 more episodes and we'll find out who wins. But loving this season so far. The bracket is just so refreshing. And I keep saying it, but I just think it's being really, really, really well done. And I really like that they did this for this season. Moving on to our final TV recap moment, we do have Love Island. Not too much. There was a lot to chat about, but we're not going to do every episode. First up, I just want to say, I don't like TJ. I do not like him. He just seems stuck up. He seems too cocky. The way he was like rating the girls' kisses and then no one picked him, I was like, good. You're being an asshole. You don't deserve to have a couple. You're just being so rude. And then he tries to use Justin Timberlake in a complimentary way. Immediately chopped for me. I don't like this man. Get him off the island. On the flip side, I do love Andriana. I'm forgetting exactly how to pronounce it. I apologize. Loving her. I feel like she wasn't coming out of her shell until she was in Casa. And now she's getting into her, her moment in Casa Amor. And I am loving her. She is cracking me up. I am so excited to see her explore her connections. And I can't wait to see, what this does for her and who she kind of ends up where she goes in the show, because you never know who they're going to couple up with or who they're going to find a connection with. I'm really excited for her, and she's also stunning. As far as the episode where they voted people off, I thought that was wild. The fact that the girls sent Hannah home, first of all, there's no way that Amaya, Iris, and Hannah were the bottom 3 of the week for When America Votes. There's no way that those were the 3 with the least votes. Everybody loves Amaya. Like, everybody is obsessed with Amaya. Even I've come around. I finally get it. I thought she was so annoying at first. Now I'm like, no, I'm obsessed. She is hilarious, and she is so much fun on this show. There's no way that little amount of people didn't vote for her. Like, I just don't believe it. Huda should have been in the bottom. Huda should have went home. I'm sorry. Huda's time is up. She is done. Something was weird about the fact that Huda was still in the game. I'm going to say it. I also don't think Hannah should have went home. If anybody from that, I thought it was going to be Iris, honestly, because Hannah's been there longer. Hannah has a connection with Pepe. Like, I thought they would have kept her around for that, so I was shocked when the girls picked her. As for the boys, the bottom 3 here, I'm not that surprised with. Austin, Jeremiah, Pepe. I'm fine with that being like the least voted for. However, the boys sending Jeremiah home it was needed. Like, Jeremiah was definitely on his way out. But why not Austin? I feel like Jeremiah, the boys just pushed Jeremiah out of his couple with Huda finally, and now he is exploring his options, doing his thing, and now you send him home? I think Austin should have been the one to go home, because Austin hasn't had a stable connection the entire time he's been there. Like, Austin's been all over the place with Amaya, with Shelly. Like, he's been like bopping around girls, where Jeremiah was with Huda and it was chaotic. He got out of that, and then he was with Iris. I'm forgetting who he was with next. But then he was even exploring with Andriana. Like, he was like, playing around, trying at least, where Austin is just like, oh, brain dead, doing his thing. Like, I don't know, something about Austin, besides his politics, he's just like an airhead, and he just like isn't bringing any substance to the show, I feel like. And I'm kind of just like, why is he still here? Why are we still dealing with this? Because he's just like, I don't know. To me, I don't get it. Moving up to last night's episode, we finally get to Casa Amor, which the fact that everybody goes to Casa and even in the villa, like now everybody is single is insane. Like making everybody single and now they have to couple up and then they're all going to go back to the villa is nuts. A, where are they all going to sleep? There are not enough beds for all of those people to have a bed to sleep in. And B, I'm so curious to see like when everybody goes back to the villa, like everybody kind of comes back together. Like, are they all going to jump ship again and recouple up? Like it's going to get so messy, but there's also going to be so many people in the villa. Like it's going to be, what is it? 20 people in the villa? Yeah, like there's going to be so many people. It's going to be nuts. So how is that going to work? I'm very confused, very curious how this is going to pan out. Also, the girls that they brought in for Casa Amor are 10 times better looking than the men. And that's kind of been constant the entire season. I'm like, the girls that you guys are bringing in are absolute jaw-dropping bombshells, and the boys are just kind of like, you could find them at any bar in Fide. Like they're nothing special. So I'm a little confused as to like how they're picking their people. I don't really have opinions on the new bombshells yet because they just got there, you know, like they haven't really done much. But I will say like Austin and Jaden, the two of them have nothing going on upstairs, and I think they're a match made in heaven. Like they are two brain dead individuals who have nothing, no lights on upstairs. So I think they can be together if they want to, but like I don't want to watch Austin anymore. I'm tired of Austin. Like I want him out of the villa. He's boring. He's not making good TV. He was like funny at first for a little bit, and now I'm like, all right, your jig is up. You've done nothing helpful or constructive to move this show along and be entertaining. Let's cut him and let's get somebody else in, or like let's explore some other options because I'm over it. And that's Love Island for now. I mean, again, there's obviously more that's gone on, but like I can't recap 7 nights. Like it's a lot to chat about. Still loving the season. I think it's great. I just think Huda needs to go. Austin needs to go. And I'm curious if Shelly's going to go back to Ace. That's like one of the biggest things. And Olandria and Taylor will definitely get back together, I think. But Shelly and Ace, I'm like, maybe they're not going to couple up again. Like they could be the one that like, they're like, actually, we're good in our new connections. But the way that Olandria is like already being like, I miss Taylor. I have a feeling the two of them are going to end up together. Like I think they're going to be one of the couples that makes it to the end. Whether they win, I don't know, but I do think they're going to end up back together. And you know, they're going to be maybe not for the long run. We will see, but yeah, I do think we needed this Casa Amor shakeup because it was getting a little stale within the villa. Not in a bad way, just in a sense that like nobody was curious to explore anymore. And now I'm like, all right, let's kick this show on the road and get things going. And that is our TV recap, which means we have made it to the final segment of the week, our yes and our mess of the week. My yes being something I am loving and my mess being something I am not loving. And we always start things on a high note. So kicking it off with my yes is the fact that Dua Lipa brought out Charli XCX at her Wembley show. I just think it's so much fun. It's unexpected. They didn't do a duet together. Like Dua gave Charli the stage. It was like lit up Brat Green. They performed 360 together. Just unexpected, fun. And like Dua and Charli go way back. They've been friends for like 10 years now. I mean, the Troy of it all with Dua opening for Troy and Charli and Troy being so close. Obviously, Dua was on the Talk Talk the Talk Talk remix. Dua did that BBC Lounge a few years ago, and Charli was in the background doing vocals. Like they've definitely been in each other's orbit for years, and they really have remained close through the years. But they don't do anything too big together. So to see the two of them like have this moment on stage together, it was just so much fun. And I love when I'm seeing the girls support the girls. You know, I always say it. We didn't always have the pop girls supporting the other pop girls. So now that we have it, I'm like, I'm going to bask in this as much as I possibly can. Absolutely loved that. And then my mess on the topic of concert and people bringing each other out. Why is Drake walking out with Morgan Wallen at his concert? Like, was Morgan Wallen not throwing the N-word around just a few years ago? And now Drake is going to go walk out on stage with him? It was just like loser palooza. It was like, who could be the bigger loser, Drake or Morgan Wallen? Like, it was the weirdest link up. It was also just like, doesn't make sense why Morgan Wallen is still to the level of fame that he's at after all the terrible things that he's done. So then to see Drake pair up with him and walk out, Drake has like kind of gotten the loser card for me for a while now. I'm kind of just like, you just are like, everything he does is kind of just like not, I don't know. He annoys me now, and he kind of just like is a crybaby. And like after all the stuff with Kendrick, I'm just like, yeah, it's a chop. I'm done. But now that he's walking out with Morgan Wallen, who is like truly just a terrible person, I'm like, you're just like kicking yourself while you're down, Drake. Why are you doing this? It just made no sense to me and just truly screamed messy behavior, which is why it was my mess of the week. And that brings us to the end of our episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you liked what you heard and you're listening to us as a podcast, make sure you go ahead and leave me a 5-star rating. It is the best way to support the show. Seriously, it would mean the world to me. If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe. Give me a big thumbs up. Drop a comment down below. Let me know your favorite song of 2025 so far. I want to know. I want to know if there's anything I missed or maybe a song I haven't heard. Send them to me in the comments. Send it to me on Instagram, whatever it may be. I'm always open to hearing what you guys are listening to. If you guys are looking for some extra moments from the week that were just too pop to handle in between episodes, you can go subscribe to my Substack. It is toopoptohandle.substack.com. I have it linked down below. If you would like to follow me on social media, I am at 2poptohandle or at Andrew Nucatola across all platforms. And with that, I will catch you guys next week. Bye.